Turn your radio up. Louder. Louder. Just a little bit louder. Because the next hour, you're going to be tuned in to Donnie Jones Live with Donnie Jones and Mardy Ringer. Hey, can we just stick with Mardy? Because like that Mardy ring, it don't have that ring to it, you know? I'm just saying. And Mardy, with your hosts Donnie Jones and Mardy, sponsored by Don's Tree Service. It's Donnie Jones Live, right here, right now, right now. Donnie Jones Live.
Hello. Welcome to Donnie Jones Live. I am your host, Donnie Jones, hanging out with
Mardy McFly, and I'm feeling good this week. You know,
so you Mardy McFly this
I'm
week?
Mardy McFly this week. You know, because I made some people at my church mad at me last week. So
Okay,
I got.
Tell me what happened. How'd you make them mad, man?
I told them to stop inviting people to the church.
Why would you do that?
Because they got issues, and I'm tired of dealing with their issues. You know, I'm saying the more people that come to your church, the more people with issues.
That would be the reason for church. We're supposed
I
to
know.
go there.
I say no.
It's for the sick.
I say, take your problems to Jesus. They keep trying to give them to me. I give them to Jesus. They keep trying to give them to me. And I'm like, look, don't invite no more people, okay? Because I'm tired.
But what about those tithes and offerings, though?
It don't come into my pocket. You know, that's for the church. I got a standard salary. You know, if I get 10 more people.
You need a commission then.
No. See, now that would mess with me. You know, I'll start having people there for the wrong reason.
I know.
I'm like, we're giving free chicken out at 10 o'clock if you come early. Right. Get your name and you got to be a member. Free chicken every Sunday. You know it'll be packed.
Well, here's the cool thing, man. We had my brother, who's an amazing artist, on last week. On our show, and he was talking about his artistry, but I wanted to kind of bring him back this week just for a second, because there's something that he's passionate about, which in turn kind of makes me passionate about it, because it's addressing an issue that he's dealing with, and it's also supporting an organization that he's passionate about. So Daniel, could you tell the people, for those that didn't get a chance to hear our show last week, or people that are new to the show, who you are and
the phenomenal artist.
Yes.
Hi, I'm artist Daniel Hodges, new here to the Atlanta area from St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to address the fact that I'm having a show on December 14th from 7 to 9 p.m.
Yay!
And what I forgot to say in the last show last week was that I'm going to be donating. Part of the proceeds will be going to the National Kidney Foundation here in Atlanta. Well, the branch here in Atlanta, and we'll be serving the National Kidney Foundation, because myself, I also suffer from kidney failure, and so of course I'm passionate about it, and it's a day-to-day struggle. But I really just like to give back.
Right.
This has been something that me and my wife have done. With the Kidney Foundation, and I lost my sister-in-law a few years ago, and we've also donated to the cancer awareness.
Right.
So we like to always give back, to let them know that it's not all about making money and
it's about
profit.
making money.
But and I want to make
you're right.
And I want to make sure that the listeners are clear, because I listen slow and but anyway, just one of those things where because see, when you say you an artist here in Atlanta, they think you about to rap. They gonna think you about to sing, right?
Right. Yeah.
And if you didn't see the last show, and I'm gonna be honest with you, something that I'm passionate about too, because my father passed from kidney failure, and I had a whole bunch of other people that died from kidney failure, and a few people that I wish would die from kidney failure. But it's something that I wouldn't mind getting a part of and being a part of. So if somebody wanted to join and be a part of what you're doing, how can they be a part? And is there things that you need that we can help with?
Right.
Well, what they can do is come to the show and purchase, original or a copy, and
you're a visual artist, basically.
Right,
is
I'm
what
a
he's
visual
saying.
artist. I'm a realist.
Yeah.
My work normally takes about 5 to 6 months to create. I usually work pretty large. The average pieces are 36 by 48 and larger, but I also do Jaclays and limited editions, so it's really priced.
What's a Jaclay?
Jaclay is a French for spray, where it's a copy, it's a
you
step down from the original.
Oh, yeah, we ain't. I thought you had sneezed or did something.
You all eat French fries. I thought y'all would be right there. Yeah, French fries.
Do fray.
I can tell you, I'm 50 years old and I've never heard that word.
No.
Right.
Well, did you just cuss?
It's I cuss in French. And it's basically, you see it all the time, you just don't know it. It's basically art duplicated on canvas. And it's usually a step down. It's a step down from an original.
Okay.
Oh, you just want to make us feel
special.
special.
I was making the show bougie.
You are bougie.
Yeah, bougie.
Exactly. So I would like all the bougie people to show up at his show and purchase the art.
Are you going to have tea there?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it will be tea.
Will it be pickle pig feet there?
Mr. T. Oh, yes. No, we will be having.
So you ain't catering to my folks at all.
Hog hors d'oeuvres.
And when
now
is
later.
Say gourmet now later.
There you go. When is the show again?
It's December 14th from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
And it's free to the public.
And I'll also be unveiling a new piece called The Graduates that's never before been seen to the public.
Yeah.
And it's 6 feet by 40 inches. So it's 72 by 40 inches.
That is huge.
Now, I know this is for the Cancer Foundation. Are y'all taking donations there too?
Well, you can donate to the Kidney Foundation.
Yeah, that's what Kidney Foundation. I said the wrong one.
Mm-hmm. Right. We've contacted them and they're on board, and we just really want to just give back. Usually when we have shows, one-man shows, we always pick a corporation or an organization that is really working hard, and that money will go to helping with different things. They try to do exciting things for those who suffer from kidney failure.
Nice.
And I've been on dialysis for 3 years now.
I wanted to speak to you about that real quick before we wrap up, because I wanted you specifically to come back and talk about that. But also, I like to be able to impact people's lives, and I think you talking about your journey real quick, about how you found out you had issues with your kidneys, or how it happened, or what people can look for to do something preventative if they can, or if they,
right.
Can't
Well, there are ways. I mean, for men, get checkups.
Yeah.
Normally we don't try to fix things until they're broke.
Right.
Women have a tendency to, basically like, I'll put it in references like a car. They get checked up quite a bit, throughout the year. And I suffered from high blood pressure and didn't know it. And I was, I started getting tingling feeling in my hands. So a friend of mine, she said, you might want to go get that checked out. And I was like, nah, girl, I ain't worried about it. I'm coming up on 40. And then I started feeling it more often. So I went. And the doctor just told me that I need to drink more water.
Right.
But what I came to realize, there's a thing called creatinine, which monitors how much toxin is in your blood, and you release that toxin through your waste.
Right.
And I found out later on that I was actually off the chart when he said that, and I should have had a follow-up. Mm-hmm. Well, by the time I went back to him after saying that, I was at 13 point something. I was from 1.6.
Right.
Like the average person is like 0
I was going
point
to ask
something.
you what's normal.
And I was 1.6. The chart stopped at 1.5.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
I was at 1.6. By the time I went back a few months later, I was 13. I was in full renal failure.
Oh my goodness.
So I ended up on dialysis. That was in 2000.
The only thing you had was just some tingling in your fingers. You had no other idea that something else was going on.
High blood pressure is a silent killer, and it was silently killing me.
Okay.
And I probably had other symptoms,
right.
But I was athletic and everything, so I was like, shoot, I didn't imagine it being high blood pressure, but I came from a very high blood pressure family. Did
you have to change your eating habits, or is it something that was hereditary? Or
well, even if it is, you still have to change your eating habits. Okay. Low salt, just fried foods. Stay away from fried foods and everything. Exercise.
But, Daniel, I remember one day we were supposed to be meeting up or something, and you said, "I'm gonna let you go because I'm getting ready to pick up these hot dogs from Quick Trip."
Well, that was just to go feed the homeless people in St. Louis. There's a lot of homeless.
Just be honest. Yeah, and I think sometimes with people don't understand. Sometimes it's moderation. You know, like everything you can eat certain things, but it's in moderation. So I'm saying I'm a diabetic, and when I was diagnosed, I was at 40, and it's just like, wait a minute, a new whole change of life. What?
Yeah, change of life.
But they what the main thing about, with illnesses or when you're hit with something, it's education. But I wanted to ask you, give us some information about the event again. How can they be a part of it? And it's October. What was that date again?
No, it's December 14th.
December 14th.
Right, from
And
7.
how can they get in contact with you real quick?
Right, get in contact with me right away. It's Daniel Leon Hodges on Facebook.
I know she cut you off. You was about to give the time, too.
I'm
Right,
sorry,
and
Tom.
then the time is Southwest Arts Center in Cascade. That's from 7 to 9.
Yes.
It's free to the public.
Yes.
Come out, help support the Kidney Foundation.
Right, and they got free chicken and they taking up offering.
Exactly.
Right.
But I don't. Daniel, thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much
thank
for
you
having
taking
me.
the time to come back because I think that's an important foundation, and I
Right.
think people should support it.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah, we'll
Very
be
much.
right back. We got to go pay some bills.
Yep, you're listening to Donnie Jones Live show.
Donnie Jones Live is sponsored by Don's Tree Service. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, just send us an email at DonnieJonesLive@gmail.com. That's DonnieJonesLive@gmail.com.
Hello, hello. Welcome back. I am your host, Donnie Jones, hanging out with
Marty Ringer. And
Yeah.
I'm Marty Ringer right now. Yeah, I was Marty McFly, but I'm gonna just try to be kind of cool right now, kind of cool.
I love it. I
'Cause
love it.
it's hard trying to, do this and be a minister too, because I have
Yeah.
people every once in a while listen to me,
Yeah.
and they'll bring up stuff that I've said, and they'll ask me that at church, and it's like, oh, I gotta explain that,
But you don't. But let me tell you why you don't have to explain it. Because the thing I like about you is you're not fake.
Right.
You know what you see in the pulpit, what you see behind closed, what you see in the streets.
Right. But
That's
you
who
ain't,
you are.
You ain't never had somebody in your Sunday school class saying, "Can I get a paralyzed puppy?"
Well, yeah, that's
J-
true.
j-
That's
just
true.
certain things you
But
gotta-
that's because you're in the media. You know what
I
I'm
know.
saying? And you're
Yeah.
entertaining and
Right,
stuff like that.
right.
You know?
Right. But
it's,
no.
it's like I'm a mom.
Right.
And people are like, well, we heard you on the radio say this,
Talking
that,
about
and the
those
third.
batteries and stuff like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right, right.
Or talking about the book. Like in
Right.
the book, I talk about sex. You
Right,
know?
which that's
that
a
I think is
good
important.
one. It is.
Thank you. My
It's-
book
it's
is called
important.
From Failure to Fabulous. You can get it on Amazon. But
Yeah.
part of the thing I talk about is,
Yeah,
sex, and that's important.
and I will say this: I don't sugarcoat what I say, and I do live
you
by
shouldn't.
what I say. Because I have a thing with religion and
Yeah.
the way that people have done it in the past.
Yeah.
And sometimes people live in a way that they use religion to kind of bring people down,
Right.
keep them down,
Well,
suppressed.
it's a way of segregating people,
Right.
marginalizing people,
Right.
and putting people in your box.
Right, and being honest, I had a real different approach to religion until I
Right.
actually went to seminary school.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh,
And people be joking when I say you're a pastor. Like on the show,
no,
they're like,
yeah.
"Oh, that's so cute. You keep calling him pastor." I'm like,
no, I'm actually.
he really is a pastor.
I'm real. Hold on.
Go ahead, put it on. Put it on.
May the grace of the Lord be with you. I am really a pastor. My church is St. Mark Lutheran Church at
Yeah.
4731 Washington Road.
Yes.
We start church.
Where?
In East Point,
there we
Georgia.
go.
I was gonna leave that part out, but yeah, in
Why?
East Point,
Would you
Georgia,
leave
because they're gonna come and they're gonna look like you really are, Pastor. Can
But
we
you want them to come.
Well, yeah, it's a
Marty,
double-edged
I'm
sword.
gonna beat you up.
No,
You want the sinners
it's
to
a
come.
double-edged sword. I don't want the sinners to come. Well, no.
Yes, you do.
I'm an open house, okay?
Yes, you are.
And I'll say that all joking aside, anybody can come to my church. I do not, close the door. I don't charge
Right.
for any programs or any events or
Right.
anything like that.
But you
So,
do take tithes and offerings.
I take whatever you
No,
want to give to the Lord.
Yeah,
It's like it ain't, cause
I know.
like
It
I
ain't
said,
going to
it
you,
ain't
right.
coming to me.
Where's
and-
your $65 million jet, dude?
No, I'm gonna pray for it. If you give it to me, thank you, Jesus.
You're not gonna ask the congregants for $65 million.
And that, even in that,
Right.
some people. I've never met this man, okay?
Right.
But I gotta say this: if you believe in God so much that
Right.
you can ask Him for whatever you want,
Right.
and you have that faith that He's gonna deliver
Oh, I
it,
believe it, yeah.
You can laugh at me because I'm gonna ask for my
Right.
model.
Yeah.
A model wife, and if God bless me with that
I want
one,
you to have your model wife.
I know. Now I got to deal with my current wife, but
oh my
but it's like if I ask for it and I believe.
But let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Whatsoever ye shall ask for in prayer, believing you shall receive.
Right.
I asked for a husband that was faithful, that was honest, that was kind, that was hardworking, that was good looking, that would be a great father to my kids.
Right.
I got all of of that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
See, and
I
he
asked
blesses
him
you.
for that. And
I wanted I wanted a saved and a spiritual wife. I got that. But I wanted a sinner in the bedroom. I did. I wanted a sinner in the bedroom.
But you're being funny, but you're being
true.
funny. No, you're being funny, but the thing is, that's what I talk to women about. You know, they think once they get married, they get saved. They're, I'm like, dude, no.
What we doing it? I don't want you to quote Bible verses while we doing it. Oh, kata shata. No, I don't want you. I want you to say some sinful
But
things.
no, here's my thing. This: how can you show up at church, be thankful for your husband, and then not have sex with him?
That's true. Then that,
You know what
that
I'm saying?
is.
If he's a bad husband, no.
No, but you
I'm
still-
saying, I know married people that haven't done it in years, and I'm like,
That
how
is
do
so
you not?
frustrating.
With my husband, that would never happen because he's like, okay, honey, it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah. My wife still
I'll be
wondering
home tonight,
why
honey.
the bed's shaking at this time in the morning. 'Cause you ain't doing nothing. Just you read in between the lines. You want me to be happy.
Yeah,
but
you want to
but
be
no,
happy.
it is a
Right.
give and take too because
But
it's
these
not
are the things they don't talk about
right.
at church.
And then also there's a thing that for men we are visual.
Right.
And women a lot of times are like, first make love to my mind.
Yeah.
Get into
Yeah.
my mind. Don't just say you ready.
Right, yeah.
It's a thing where stimulate my mind,
Right.
Because
a lot of my friends say, Donnie, I would just like somebody that can talk to me. And I
Right.
think a lot of guys don't get that, But I be honest with you? It's not so much they want somebody that can talk to them.
Right.
They want somebody that'll listen.
that is
That's
true.
it.
But
Somebody
shoot.
that'll listen.
But look, I don't listen to 2:00 in the morning.
No.
I don't listen.
Yeah, but if you're consistent with your listening, you don't have to listen as much. Like, I know my husband's a great listener.
Right.
So it's not like I throw a lot of stuff on him because I know that's there. But if you're afraid that safety isn't there, that companionship and that listening isn't there, you're hungry for it, and then you
Right.
don't feel safe. And if you don't feel safe, guess what? You're not going to feel like having sex.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
It's I think there's a big divide, or there's something that we got to come together with giving the woman what she wants,
Right.
But then also giving your husband what he wants
Absolutely.
too. And I
Absolutely.
think that's a part because women just feel like, well, you just want it all the time. That's all you want.
Well, it's true. They do.
But at the same time, if you understand that
Right.
men, God put that in us too to
Absolutely.
be, conquerors, and to a sense that we want that challenge.
Yeah.
If a woman and guys, y'all know, y'all if you can call in. So I ain't saying this by myself. But if there's not a challenge, we don't really want it.
Well, can I speak to that? Mm-hmm. My husband is a very quiet guy.
Right.
And when I was kind of vibing him and, kind of liking him or whatever, and I realized he was liking me, because I live in Atlanta and I was surrounded by certain types of women, they would be like, oh, you need to, you need to say something to him. You need to, if he hasn't spoke to you yet, you should, try to set up a date. I was like, I'm not doing that. If he wants me and he loves me and he has vibes for me, he's going to come to me. And that's exactly what happened, and I'm not saying that I'm all for women's rights, but I really do still believe in the traditional roles. I really do.
Yeah.
But I also am very liberal, Meg. I believe in LGBTQ rights. But when you are in a relationship with your average guy,
Right.
and you're your average, regular woman,
Right.
you want the guy to come after you. That's what
Right.
a natural, healthy courtship looks like, in my opinion.
Yeah,
In my opinion.
and I think it's vice versa. I'm saying, sex with a spouse is really wonderful.
Yes, it is.
It really is.
Especially a spouse that knows what he's doing.
Right. The only problem is you need to do it with your spouse.
Oh my
because that's my
gosh.
biggest problem.
Marty.
I'm just saying, you just do it with your spouse.
Monogamy. I talk
Right.
about that once again in my book. From Failure to Fabulous. I talk about it from the girl's perspective.
How can they
And
get
I
your
talk-
book? How can they get
you
your
know
book
what? They can
anyway?
go to Amazon. They can go to Amazon, look for Donnie Jones, Doni Jones, From Failure to Fabulous, Donnie Jones.
And they can still get it from your website,
Yeah, they can get
too.
it from my website,
Right.
too. Donnie Jones Live. That's right. I get commission from home.
There you
Donnie
go.
Jones Live. Go to DonnieJonesLive.com.
And-
DonnieJonesLive.com. That's DonnieJonesLive.com.
Right.
I know that because you set it up.
If you want counseling services, you probably don't want to come to me or to my church. I'm just saying, be honest with you,
No,
just
but
being
Marty,
honest.
let me tell you something. I love your church and I love your
yeah.
preaching. You should tell people how to get in contact with you at your church again.
Oh, Jesus.
Come on, Pastor
Okay, all
Mardy.
right. If you want to come to my church, my phone don't work, but you can just call me.
You gotta pay the bill, Marty.
I know. Actually, I'm saying my church it hadn't had a pastor for about 10 years,
Right.
And so it's been a wonderful, wonderful congregation that has been going on, and I went over there as a minister of music,
Right.
And they believed
And
in
you
me.
married? I'm just
Me and a long story about that, but that's a different topic. But I went over there, and they gave me an opportunity to speak, and they enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and I understood what the calling was.
Yeah.
And they sent me to seminary school, and I'm now the current pastor of
That's
St.
right.
Mark Lutheran Church in East Point, Georgia, on Washington Road.
You guys, you should go check him out. He's an
Check me
amazing
out.
man.
We start at 11 o'clock, and that's
Yes.
usually, we don't color people time, but usually at 11 o'clock.
I love
we
it.
even got Sunday school.
That's right. You guys are listening to Donnie Jones Live. I am your host, Donnie Jones, hanging out with
Minister Mardy Ringer.
That's right, Minister Mighty Ringer. We're going to go pay some bills. We'll be right back. Thanks.
Donnie Jones Live is sponsored by Don's Tree Service. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, just send us an email at DonnieJonesLive@gmail.com. That's DonnieJonesLive@gmail.com.
Hey, welcome back to Donnie Jones Live. I am your host, Donnie Jones, hanging out with
the Honorable Marty Ringer.
the Honorable.
No.
What? I gotta stop saying I'm your host. It's the host and co-host. 'Cause
Yeah, we
honestly,
here.
you add so much vibe and
we
good
add,
energy.
We add to everybody.
To the show.
to
But I
each
gotta
one.
go back to something you were talking about. You going to seminary school.
Yeah.
Like, I see you as like this person that's just like, you're all over the place, but you definitely have a certain type of sense of humor. You're not afraid of getting dirty.
No.
And you definitely appreciate natural herbal life products. So I'm trying to make all of that work.
I'm going to just be honest with you. I am a realist. I grew up as a Pentecostal kid, okay? My parents were both ministers, and for me, I got tired of church.
Yeah.
I got tired of, some certain things, and I would ask them, and, I love my parents, but, they'd have church, and then they'll say, you don't need to talk about anybody. That's a sin, a sin, a sin. And then they get home, and they talk about everybody that's in the church. And I used to ask them, like, why y'all be back? Y'all.
Let me tell you what we called it at my house. We called it being a hypocrite. My dad used to say, I can't stand a hypocrite. And I grew up Islamic, so we were all about family, which any religion is, but you're all about family, telling the truth, being faithful to your wife. But then I'm in a neighborhood, and I'm like, those kids look a lot like my brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
but
saying?
and in a lot of churches, they believe behind every good man is a good woman.
Yeah.
And his wife.
Several good.
Yeah, and his wife. You got to throw that in. But I had a point in my life that I got tired of the same old style where you go to the church and you hear, oh, the Lord is good,
Right.
Go up, stand up, shake around, clap 2 times, and then it's like, you know what?
It was almost like a pattern.
It was a pattern, and I looked at it as spiritual exercise, because you got people jumping up, running around, slapping each other, and then after church, it's like, what did you learn?
That's what we were talking about. What did you learn? What did you get out of it?
Right. And so
it's like, where's the meat?
Where's the meat?
Yeah.
So I when I graduated from high school, I just said, I'm just me. I have a relationship with Christ.
Yes.
I know that.
Right.
I believe in that, but I'm really like, I don't sign up for certain things.
Right. And you shouldn't sign up for certain things. Let me tell you what I can't sign. I can't sign up for the lies anymore.
Yeah.
If anything, what these last couple of years have taught me, I mean, I've known it for years.
Right.
Like, I know it's a business. I know it's theatrics. I know it's knowing how to move a crowd and tap into people's emotions. I'm cool with that.
Right.
And I would sit in the audience and allow that to happen to me because it felt good. But when you have a whole group of people marginalizing another group of people because of how they look or because of who they love, and then from the pulpit you're supposed to say we're nonpartisan, but then the only people that you have come speak at the church or one from one group or another, I'm like, this is some jokes. This is not.
It's some things that, and I had to come to a certain point with that, because here's the thing. Actually, we had talked about it earlier, and I don't want to go into it a whole lot, but when I was diagnosed with diabetes, I took a year off and I went down to my parents' house.
Right.
And I'm still in the ministry, and I'm trying to kind of support them, and we're going to different churches and everything. And we go to a church that is doing that, just this fire and brimstone and the yelling and the jumping and everything.
Right.
And I come out and I talk to my parents and the people that went with the church, and they loved it.
Oh, they loved it.
And they loved it. And then I realized this, though. So I'm true to myself and understanding to myself. Some people, they love that, and that's their way of connecting with Christ.
Right.
That's
and
what they grew up with. And we have to
respect that.
And I have to respect that.
The traditions come out of slavery. We were not allowed to have our own culture and stuff back in slave times. So Christianity was forced on us. So as always, as a people, when something is forced on us, we take it and make it our own.
Right.
And we brought our cultures and our traditions to it. And on the weekend or whenever we went to church, we brought in the theatrics. We didn't know how to read, we didn't know how to write, but we could quote a few verses and make it entertaining, and it was a release.
Okay, so now you're about to make me go somewhere. Now you're about to make me go somewhere because
that's what people don't realize. That's how it started.
Right, because a lot of times African Americans don't know why they're Baptist or they don't know why they're Methodist. It's because during the slavery times, the slave masters of Baptist and Methodist churches, they could bring their slaves to that church.
That's right.
And you could be, if your master is Lutheran, not Lutheran, but if your pastor is Baptist. Your slave master is Baptist, then you're a Baptist.
Right.
The Lutheran church, well, that's what I'm a part of, they didn't believe in that. So that's why a lot of them didn't go. They just like, okay, if you are an individual up under God, so you can't be forced to be a Lutheran. It's something that you decide to do yourself.
Right.
And then African Americans that didn't want to be a part of that earlier tradition, they had what they call Brush Harbor services, where they would, after the main service, then they go way out in the woods.
Come on now.
And then that's where they could do their own emotional stuff, because we are an emotional people.
We are.
We could do the dances, and that's when you get like.
And don't look down on that, because I do see that there is a more educated class of Christian now that looks down on the theatrical ones. Right. But neither one of y'all are getting fed. You think you are. But it's when it comes to God, it's about relationship.
It's about relationship.
It's not about the theatrics. It's about relationship. And what I have a problem with is people embracing the theatrics, but then you don't want to hear the truth.
You don't want to hear the truth. And I struggle with this too. And I'm going to be honest with you, because
you're a pastor.
Yeah, and if I go in there and I just give you straight theology, you're going to go to sleep.
Oh, well, yeah.
And that's the thing.
You gotta make it entertaining.
And I gotta make it entertaining and everything. But then also, for me, myself, my own ministry, I want to change the regular tradition, because more people are believing in tradition versus the religion, or even working with what the Bible says. Right. It's like, okay, I believe what the pastors say. Don't believe what I say. Read the Bible.
Read it for yourself.
Read it for yourself. Understand it yourself. But then,
and understand that it is a man-made text that has had man-made hands on it and has been.
Yeah.
Okay, can I go there?
You can go there.
It has had some adjustments made based on. That's why you have the King James version.
Well,
that's why you have the New International version.
But let me explain this, okay?
But the spirit is real.
But understand this: some people can't read the King James version, so they need the Little James version.
I want the Little James version,
because the original text coming from Greek and Aramaic. Most of us can't read that now.
Right.
We
but here's
can't
the
read
thing,
English.
But the translations were not word for word translations.
Because certain words you can't translate in certain things. So yeah, it's true, but it's like this.
Their own, close to a
because I hear this all the time, but I'm like, have you taken the due diligence to go find out what was taken and changed? Most of us don't.
Right.
And most of us will try to go through there and say, well, they changed it. Well, why don't you go ahead and get Aramaic or Greek, and then you find out for yourself what they changed. Well, I ain't gonna do all that, because you don't want the answer.
They don't want the answer.
They don't want the answer. So here's the thing. Read the basics.
Don't take my word for it.
Don't take my word.
Right.
Read the basics. If you have an argument, we'll find the answer to your argument.
Right.
Because a lot of people, I don't want to believe in the Bible. Okay, well, Jonah in the Bible talks about mountains in the ocean that we just discovered a couple of years ago.
Come on.
But now you're going to say, well, the Bible ain't true. Well, okay, they talked about the earth being round in the Bible that they just started a couple of decades later found out about.
Well, there's truth in the Bible.
There's
but
a lot of truth.
That there were certain parts of it that were manipulated to be able to control the masses.
All right. Now,
but there's
that
truth
is true.
in the Bible.
Right.
There's absolute truth in the Bible, without a doubt.
Truth. There is truth in our Constitution, and some people use that to hold people back. Same thing with the Bible.
Exactly.
That's why
they use it as a weapon, as a Instead of a way to liberate people,
right,
they use it as a weapon.
And that's why sometimes religions, if you look at them, the pastors that actually teach, some of them teach about the law. I want to hold you down. Where other religions, they talk about the grace of how you the good news of Christ, how you can grow your life, how you can be better.
I like that version better.
Right, that version is better.
I like that version.
But a lot of it is like, oh, you're going to hell because you don't drink. You're going to hell because your pants are sagging.
Right.
I might not like your pants sagging, but that ain't no sin.
But that ain't gonna be a sin. That's not a sin.
Yeah. So I don't know how we got all on that, but I am actually.
You know what? Let me tell you how we got it on that because people need to hear it. People need to hear the truth.
It's the Spirit of the Lord pushing us there. He took us there. Oh,
yes, he did. Yes, he did. But I will say this, and we're gonna take a quick break because we gotta go pay some bills. But I read it for myself. I didn't go what somebody else told me. Paul said. Well, I didn't go by what somebody else said. David said. I read it for myself.
There you go. I was mad because I believed everybody else, and then I'll start reading it and learning, and I'm mad at everybody. Like, Mommy, you've been lying to me for years.
But give Mama a break. She didn't know better. And speaking of a break, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Donnie Jones Live is sponsored by Don's Tree Service. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, just send us an email at DonnieJonesLive@gmail.com. That's DonnieJonesLive@gmail.com.
Welcome back. I am your host, Donnie Jones, and you're listening to Donnie Jones Live.
And I'm Mardy Ringer, yes, or Marty McFly. This is the last thing. I got to bring that back, because you know.
Because you're so fly. And speaking of fly, I was loving what was coming out of your mouth, what was flying out of your mouth a few months ago about the word and about
that
how
is very interesting. I really don't get into it depending on the conversations. But it's a thing because depending on who you talk to, it's people connect their lives with their religion.
Right.
And if you ever say, well, certain things of the Bible might be questionable. Oh, you that devil guy. And it's like, okay, well let me expand your brain or your essence.
You can expand on it.
I can put it like this. I can expand on your belief. I can give you the information of history. Right. How did we come to this point? Okay, because everybody said, well, they taking books out of the Bible. Yeah, they did. There's a lot of books out there.
Can I tell you something?
Here's the thing.
We don't know.
You don't know, but
you don't know.
Here's the thing. Educate yourself because they're out there. Yeah. Because every time you say, well, they took the books out, well, you can find out what books were taken out.
But here's the thing, though.
And they're available for you to get.
The ignorant masses. You got to remember, you and I will read. I'll read. I'm not going to just take what was good. I grew up Islamic, then of course, because I went to church with my grandmother, and that's where I felt more at home. That's where I felt the Spirit of Christ. I said, this is my path, okay? Right. And then you get to a point where you see all the hypocrisy, the lies, the condemnation, the marginalizing people. So I'm a follower of Christ, and I love God.
And that's me. That's what you're supposed to be.
And I love people. Whereas what I admire about you is that you have a very open mind, but you're also still able to work within the realms of the religion that you're in.
Right. I'm saying, because my religion believes as we're all saints and sinners, at the same time. And it's like, I can't live a perfect life. I'm saying, when they say, even if you think about something, you're going to hell in a sense. If you look at them, you're already saying, we are going to hell. So it's like, I can't live. And that's why I believe that Jesus came and died for my past, current, and future sins.
Can we not do any future sins?
Yeah.
Can we just...
I'm going to sin today. I know that. I'm going to sin as soon as I... But
oh, my goodness,
the thing is, people got to understand the history.
Right.
What is the real understanding of the Bible? And understanding like this. What are they selling?
Right.
Because you got to be.
But here's the thing, though, Marty. Because a lot of people don't realize that they are selling.
Right. But it's a. And I don't want to get people thinking the wrong way, like, okay, religion is just trying to selling something. They're selling faith. They're selling faith, but it's a community of people telling their story of faith. Yeah. These Israelites, we believe that we started here and this is our lineage of how our faith walked.
Right.
We saw this man, we believed in him. And that's real. And then people kind of get it mixed up, like the Bible is one big book, and they took some books out of the Bible.
Not.
It's 66. The current Bible that most of us in the United States look at, it's 66 different books.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
66 different books that were put together at one point because a country was fighting, and Constantine wanted to say, okay, what do we believe? And now certain things that we do in our churches today, because they say they have the creeds.
Right.
What do we believe?
Right.
And you stand up, I believe in the Father, the
But here's the thing, though. People don't get past the fact that it's what do you believe,
right?
And everything that we are taught is what somebody said they believed, and if that lines up with our spirit, and it lines up with our lifestyle, and it lines up with what we believe that God put in our heart, well then that's our faith,
right?
And so I have a problem with people saying, well, because I believe this,
right,
y'all are wrong, and y'all are bad.
And most people gotta get it wrong, because it's like the people that says, well, you're Baptist and I'm Pentecostal,
Methodist.
y'all wrong. And it's like, do you know you're both Christians? What do you believe? I believe in Jesus Christ. That's a Christian.
But why can't that be enough?
Because people,
why can't that be enough?
And they're starting there, but it's certain,
but that ain't where they're finishing, Marty.
Traditional things are messing it up.
So what do you see the future of the church as? Because what I see is when I talk to young people, they're like, I am so done with church. I am done with the hypocrisy. I'm done with the lies. I'm done with having, a choir director who's amazing, talented, and awesome and smart that just so happens to be gay, but he's living in the closet because of what some scripture says. They're tired of it. They're tired of seeing black people being marginalized by white people that are supposed to be of the same faith. So something has to change. What do you see as changing?
Just like everything else, change has to start within you.
Right.
And if you don't like that church, there's over 4,000 churches in the Atlanta metropolitan area. Find one. Find one, and you go over there and say, what can I do to bring this church together? Because it's kind of like this. You can say it one way or another way. You can say, my church is because of me, my church is the way it is.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You can do that as saying, because of what all you've done, your church is the way it is, or because you ain't done nothing. That's why your church is the way it is.
Right.
And if sometimes people want to complain about anything that comes into life.
Right.
If I go to the church, well, they ain't have a water cooler in the front. I ain't going there.
I don't think that's what's going on now, though, Marty.
Hear me out.
I think there's a deeper thing going on right now.
Hear me out, because I'm with these people. I'm with these people all the time, and I hear these arguments.
Church, okay?
No. And it's funny because I'll go to Fridays. I go to restaurants and I'll ask younger people, what is it? Why don't you go to church? Or what will make you go to church? Or what turns you away? I do this all the time. I'm on the radio today, but Monday through Friday. But you
minister to people, right?
I work in this every single day, and I'm serious about what I do. Okay. So I'm always constantly asking people why, and it's always something different. They get up too early.
Can I get
no? Understand this.
For people that truly want to go to church,
that's the problem.
Get up early to go to church.
The people that really truly want to go to church is going to find a church that their spirit connects to.
Right, but my thing is this: when do we get to a point where when those church doors open up? It's just love. And it doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter, I like this pastor, but I don't like that. They was preaching this, but that don't feel right.
Earlier,
love, man.
We said this earlier. People that are in church, I was playing early, but I'm serious too in a certain degree. People in church have the most problems, are the most torn, the most broken, the ones that don't know how to communicate.
Right.
I'm saying I have people that we have a food pantry at the church. And people get upset when people come to the food pantry and get food out.
Why?
Because people are broken.
That's
and
what the food pantry is for.
Exactly. That's what the church is for. But people are come to the church, and you got people in the church that you don't have to get qualification to do certain things in the church.
Right.
To be a greeter in the church. There's no qualification. So you can come in and say, oh, baby, you ain't dressed right to be here. Usually the pastor doesn't even know anything about that.
Right.
You know, I find out stuff later that happens in my church that I'm like, now y'all making me a bad guy because now I got to chew y'all out for
but here's
these
the thing with
things.
that, as the person that's a leader of an organization,
Right.
the type of people that I bring into my organization matters, and it affects how they treat my customers.
Right, but see, they get a check.
They do get
I'm saying, right.
Yeah,
At the
but
church, they don't.
Even if I have volunteers, right. Which nobody's volunteering to do tree work, by the way.
Exactly.
But you still got to manage. What type of people are you? You know, are you going to have somebody that's going to be crass and not nice to another person? All I'm saying is that when you got people that are hurting, people that are young, people that are gay, people that are straight, people that are broken, I know a lady right now in a broken marriage that has been in the church for 14 years.
Right.
She's afraid to tell people that she's going through a divorce because she's afraid of how her friends are going to react.
Now, is that the church or is that the woman?
Well, I think it's her problem that she's concerned about that, but she's seen other people get marginalized and looked down on because they didn't keep the nice family with two kids.
And here's the thing. People blame the church, but sometimes you got to take ownership.
Oh, you got to take ownership.
If you're going through a divorce, you don't need to tell everybody in church.
Well, it's not that you need to tell everybody, but when you're hurting, I would assume that divorce is like one of the most painful things you could go through.
Right.
Go through. So if you're hurting, that would be where you get healed.
You're right.
That would be where you can cry on someone's shoulder without being judged.
Right.
We only got 30 seconds. What we gonna do?
I know. Just put it like this, y'all. First thing first, go to Christ.
Yes.
Don't, always get counseling. And sometimes those tragedies actually are benefits. You always got rainbows after storms. I'm going to leave it at there.
And then sometimes your mess can be your message.
Yep.
And we want to give you a message. Just love one another and be peaceful. Yes. I'm Donnie Jones, hanging out once again with
Mardy Ringer today.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Donnie Jones Live is sponsored by Don's Tree Service. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, just send us an email at DonnieJonesLive@gmail.com. That's DonnieJonesLive@gmail.com.